why don't we, I will pass this on to the Planning Commission, and they will have answers for these specifically, and they'll be prepared for that, so, okay? Next is Candace Slate.
Good evening. My name is Candace Slayton, and my home sits on the south fence line of the proposed data center that we are all here to discuss tonight. I stand before you with my third-generation Sandite children. That alone should show my investment that my family has made in this community over the years. I remember just a few short years ago when we had to drop long-standing titles like Pratt Patriots in the name of unity. We asked children to put aside what school they attended and come together as one body. We were all Sandites. I ask you, where is that camaraderie tonight? Why does it suddenly matter that my home doesn't reside within city limits, or that I can't vote in your city elections? Does that make me any less of a Sandite, or does it make me Sandite strong? A unique type of Sandite that chose a different lifestyle than most would, but not one that makes me any less worthy. I ask you to remember that one day we will all stand in front of the judgment seat. Will you be known for protecting the least of these and hear the words, "Well done, my good and faithful servant"? Or will you choose a different path out of a love for money and hear, "I know you not, depart from me"?
Thank you, Candace. Okay. Wendy Stout. Wendy Stout.
My name is Wendy Stout. I live 1/4 mile from the proposed data center. And my question for you specifically, actually Mrs. Blevins took all my questions, but it was what teeth are going to be in it to hold you accountable. I hear, well, this is our plan, this is the proposal, this is what we envision. And then when it comes right down to it, what really happens? What provisions, okay, you say 65 decibels. So what happens if it's louder? You have a piece of equipment break, you can't get it apart for 3 months. It's very loud for a certain period of time. Does everybody here within a 1/4 mile, a 1/2 mile, get a check from you because we have to put up with this? Are there teeth in there? Well, we plan to do this. That's what we want to know. Are there teeth? And then if you sold it to somebody else, and maybe you don't plan to, but my husband worked at a place where they were having a new site built. And the plans were beautiful, and the landscaping was beautiful, and everything was going to be great. And then a couple months later, it didn't really fit into their plans, and they didn't follow through with it. There was no accountability.
Thank you so much for that question. I appreciate that right now the state of plans being in flux is disconcerting. I understand that. We are working as fast as we can to finalize those plans, and we are accountable to all local, state, and national laws like every other organization. That is, the law are the teeth that we are accountable to. In terms of detailed specifics on what this site's going to look like or selling it, that is extremely unlikely. Very few companies are willing to invest billions of dollars in a facility and walk away. We have operated in Pryor with great success for a very long time. I urge you to drive around the public roads there and listen to the campus there, or see it. Now that is in an industrial park, so it's a very different setup. I appreciate it. I'm glad that's being acknowledged, because this property has tree barriers all around it and a setback. It will help a lot. You won't see it.
So if it becomes an industrial park and you're planning on using 10% of the 826 acres, what happens to the rest of it? Do 50 other industries come in?
So it's not an industrial park. The prior facility is built within an industrial park. This is going to be on the 827 acres that we're talking about. No other companies will be coming in. Other parts of the property will be used for roads to access different buildings and various parts of the development, but that's all. We intend to have a lot of natural vegetation. We intend to honor the conservation easement, the conservation easement that exists on that property, and we intend to fill in any barriers with the trees as we need to ensure a full barrier around the full perimeter of the property. Yeah, because
You say the word intend, but you understand I've heard that before. We intend to do this and make it great. It just didn't happen.
this agreement, nothing is finalized yet, and I understand that, like I said, I understand that is disconcerting to many people. We're asking for your trust in your city council. They are asking very challenging questions. They are working on your behalf.
No, they're not.
They are.
Thank you for this conversation back and forth. I really do appreciate it. And one thing that hasn't been mentioned that everybody here knows is that this is put into the center where we don't have a vote for any of you. We can't vote you on or off because that's the important part, that we don't have a say in. It feels to us like you don't care what we think out here, because we can vote for it.
Thank you. Next is Rebecca Thomas.
Good evening, my name is Rebecca Thomas. I live at 9271 Preservation Drive. My question is for Mayor Spoon and the City Council. When you were sworn in as members of the City Council, you took an oath to faithfully and impartially discharge your duties. Your background and experiences, like many of us, have no prior expertise in data centers, their pros or their cons, their economic or their environmental impacts. Under those circumstances, I would think the council would need to gain expert assistance from multiple disciplines in order to diligently assess the pros and cons. Can you tell me what specific actions you took and the expert knowledge you gained regarding data centers prior to issuing a letter of support to Project Spring on August 19th, 2025? Just a few weeks after annexing the property. Further, can you tell me what specific actions you took and the expert knowledge you gained regarding data centers after issuing that letter of support to today? What have you done to get that expertise? Thank you.
The letter that you're referencing was a will serve letter. It is saying that we have the capacities to do that. In the letter, I talk about that we will always reserve water capacity for our citizens. We talk about, and we have engineers on staff, we talk about, can we do this technically? That was not a final decision. I don't get to make those final decisions. The council up here makes the final decision, but do we have the capacities to do that? And that's what we answered in the letter, is we do have those capacities, and we have excess capacity. So,
That doesn't answer the question.
we have staff, we have engineers on staff that can answer to our capabilities. We've made trips, several members of the council made a trip to Pryor to talk to them, to educate themselves. We've asked for the engineers who design these to give us the information we need. One of them's here tonight. We get that expertise to do, because I've never made a data center, but we go to and we talk to the cities that have had that, and so we learn from their experiences.
What about the net economic impact? And it's great that we have the state saying, hey, come in businesses, here's a rebate, or here is an exemption period for taxes. And then the state has to bail them out because they're not paying those taxes into the county. So then the state funds out of taxes rebates to those counties that have these properties. It's public knowledge, it's in the records. Are you concerned about that?
No.
Okay. As far as how we educated ourselves, as
Thank
Mr.
you.
Carter said, we took a trip to Google. We toured around the outside of the facility, of every different angle, looking at lights and looking at sound. We actually had a lengthy visit with the plant manager. We actually had dinner with the mayor. The mayor of Pryor is a good personal friend, and he cannot say enough good things about Google. If you're referring to the Google situation in Pryor, when the state actually paid, they actually put a lot of money into that Pryor facility just to get Google here. And that arrangement is not the same as this. There'd be no extra taxpayer money could go into this. The only thing that will happen is when it appears that the agreement that will be struck for what they will pay as far as payment in lieu of taxes, it's called, they will be the highest taxpayer, and they pay higher taxes than anybody else in Northeast Oklahoma. Well, the beneficiaries of the money from what they'll pay, which is the Osage County, Sand Springs Schools, and Tulsa Tech, they'll get more money off of the tax payment than they would have, than any other facility in Oklahoma, in Northeast Oklahoma. I think as far as myself, as far as reading about data centers, I have not read so much in years. I have read everything I can find about data centers. And the more I read and the more current I read, the better it sounds. The technology has changed. Now, when I say better, I don't mean better necessarily this makes that better. It's just, as the technology changes, these facilities are much easier on the public. They don't cause as much problems as they did in the past. He asked if we put it in the city limits. It's not an if and or. It's just that this facility, this particular property or not. We don't have a choice. It's not like, and we'd be happy to have one in the city limits. That would not be a problem. That's not a choice. We don't have that as a choice. This particular piece of property was chosen by a company to do a business. And that's what they have proposed. We don't have any other options at this point. It's just this facility or not. So that's what we're looking at. So, okay, let's see. Rebecca, did you have any other questions, or did I answer that correctly, or any other
No.
council members want to?
The definition of an
Okay.
ad valorem
All
tax.
right, next.
Reimbursement, ad valorem tax reimbursement, what is that?
The question was ad valorem tax reimbursement. Who asked that, and what do you mean by that?
What is it? What is it?
Are you asking, when you say reimbursement, what are you talking about?
It's called the ad valorem report.
Ad valorem
Yeah.
tax is what you pay on your property.
What is the benefit that Google gets by that tax reimbursement?
It's not a reimbursement, they don't get any money back, they just pay money.
What's the definition?
What? All right, listen. What happens is that in lieu, they make an agreement, and it happens everywhere, and they agree to pay an amount of money in lieu of taxes. So their property does not go on the tax roll, but,
Oh, there you go.
but, listen closely, listen. What they pay, what they will pay is gonna be more than any other entity in northeast Oklahoma. And that includes Sinclair Refinery or Phillips 66. And we will, at the planning commission, we will have those, I think we'll have those numbers by then, won't we? Anyway, the agreement is not finalized yet, but it's significant money.
Well, and they get a 5 year.
Okay, next.
So for 5 years, they get all the kickbacks on the tax.
Math ain't math.
Next is Angie as a graph, GRASHFH.
Angie Grant, you're the next.
Grant, Angie Grant.
Property tax is going to run. That's part of the agreement. There not to be any property tax. But she just.
This question would actually be for you, Jeff, because you all sent out the postcards that said that it would be 60 decibels at the fence line. That is loud. That is very loud. So we're not supposed to hear it. That's at the fence line, 65 decibels, and that's admitted on your mailing. So that doesn't mix. This doesn't add up. So I would like some answers about that, because that's unacceptable. Truly, you agree. And the wildlife, a certain amount of decibels, and I did my research, I don't have that with me, but the cattle and the horses that are out there, the ranches, they stop reproducing.
That's right.
Hi there, thanks for that question. I know most of us are not walking around every day with a noise meter, so the decibel
Whatever.
reference.
But we do walk around with no noise at all.
And
That's great.
the
I appreciate
animals
that. 65 decibels is the sound of either a quiet conversation from several feet away, or it could be the same comparison as walking past
That's
an office building. When you walk past an office building, there's not much sound coming from it.
But the animals don't know that.
That would also be a maximum at the fence line. When we go and take a noise meter outside of the prior data center, it read 40 decibels, significantly lower than that.
They don't
And that
have
was in full
animals.
operation.
Right, and there's nothing out there.
So we
out there
expect
at all, so there
that this would be
0
very
decibels.
comparable to that development.
You can't tell the difference because it's in an industrial park.
We
Nope.
can't hear what a dog can hear,
Okay.
but supposedly they're
This is
okay
not
with
being
this
very
level?
productive when you keep yelling stuff out. She's trying to answer the question and you're just yelling and people can't hear. Please listen. If you're gonna ask a question, please listen. And maybe we can get through this and we'll figure out why we wanna do this or why we don't wanna do
We
this.
don't want to.
But we don't need, you can go have a place and yell at each other, but this is not the place for that. Okay, next is, let's see, Amanda Sellers.
Come on, Amanda.
question is really, my concern is, thank you, the connection of public health and data centers. We seem that no matter what you're doing, whether it's water or air coolant, there's PFAS, there's air pollution, and those PFAS that saturate into the soil, and they also go into our watershed. Air pollution releases pollutions that affect asthma, can create cancers. It is associated with a decrease in infertility, and whether that's humans or livestock or wildlife, because you build up those forever chemicals, as they are called. And my concern is about the long-term public health risk. This is risk. So my first question on that is, as a public out here, has anyone already been affected by this proposal? Have you had headaches? Have you had mental health stress? Have you had stomach aches? Have you been sleep deprived? Right? That's already in the proposal portion. Right? You deal in health, right? Or you did. You're retired, obviously. That is a concern, because not only do those chemicals and those air pollutants affect the adults, they affect the children and our future generations, and the schools are important. So, do you have any current performance measures or metrics about public health in relation to your data centers? Are you guys aware of that? You said you're going to do a bunch of research.
Sure. Where would you think the PFAS in the water would come from? She already told you there's not going to be water used other than...
No, it's in airs, it's in the coolant systems, so it comes out.
So it's not going to go out into the water, it's not going to go out on the
A
ground.
leak is inevitable, and if you do air, right, it's a silent killer.
And you have some information based on that?
Absolutely. I have my information just like you do. And so that's the question we need answered. Long term, when we think future generations for our schools, whether that's 1.1 million, 25 million on a 25-year contract, on a payment in lieu of taxes, is not that much, guys. It's not that much.
Nope.
You and I know that. I'm not saying we don't need it, but what I'm saying is our future, we need future generations to be around. And what you're saying is you're willing to jeopardize our health up north because it's outside of the district when you have industrial land. Public health is important.
Hi, thanks so much for your question. There is no groundwater contamination from a data center. Even if we use water as cooling, there's no groundwater
We're not
contamination.
talking about groundwater.
There's no PFAS, there's no waste leaching into the ground. These are buildings that we call shells. They're like big warehouses.
How are they
We
gonna
put
hold up
servers
against
inside
a
them.
tornado?
We put servers inside them, so it's like an office building full of computers. Those servers, like I said before, don't have any screens. They're just effectively the tower part of a desktop, for example. No monitor, right? So just the tower part of the computer. When we recycle those out, we actually decommission those servers. We recycle each component of it, and they're reused to build new servers. Or other metal instruments, but nowhere near here at a recycling facility. There's no waste produced from the data center that goes into the ground with water or anything else. When we do air cooling, it's effectively an air conditioning system for the servers. Remember, like when you put a laptop, when you're working on a laptop, for example, if you put it on your lap, for example, it feels warm. The servers produce heat just by operating, so we need to keep them cool so they keep running and don't overheat.
We know that.
So we do that. In this case, we're talking about air cooling, like I said, so it's effectively an air conditioning system. It's like any other air conditioner, right? So we make a trade-off, right? We can either use water, which produces just water vapor, or we can use air cooling, which is just air conditioning. So if we use water, we recycle it several times through and discharge it through a wastewater treatment plant. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking here about using air cooling, which is an air conditioning system. There are carbon offsets for that, so we are trying to balance all of those out. We've talked about things like carbon capture and other technologies to remove that element of any potential effect here.
But it doesn't
But we've
exist
heard from
yet.
many of you don't want us to use water. So we're talking about air. We have to use one resource or another to operate a facility, just like any other facility. If it were an aluminum smelter, they would use a lot of water. Since we're trying to be a data center that doesn't use water, we're gonna go to air cooling. So there's constant trade-offs with all development. But there's no long-term pollution from a data center.
Not true.
How is there not real impact to public health? Did you see that I just turned and asked this public if they had already been affected health-wise? It's the proposed, just the proposal. So you've already got into the process of mental and emotional distressors. Yes, there is public health impact. And there needs to be more research on it.
My name is Audrey Sellers. I'm probably at this point 10th generation Sandite. I've grown up on this road my entire life on 97, which, let me remind you again, you nice Google lady, when you sit and you listen to us say these things, do you guys actually realize that the people who are talking to you don't get to vote on this? Like, I genuinely need you guys to get that into your thought process, because you're proposing this to people who don't even drive up that road. And it's right next to my house. So, yeah, sure. We are affected by no data center right now. And so what if we are? You aren't. How do we know that you care? And Jim Spoon, you have been very, very ignorant when speaking to us. You've addressed this crowd as if we are trying to start a riot or something, and we are just trying to speak our mind and how we feel, and you get on the microphone, and every single time you tell us you're not going to get your way by acting like that. How are we going to get our way?
Yes.
Next is Mike Bennett.
No answer. So no answer. What's the question, but no answer?
That's the MO.
Love it.
She's saying we got questions, but they can't answer, or they just
Good evening, I've got 3 minutes, I'm going to try and move quick. My name is Mike, I am a resident of Sand Springs. I'm come from the area as we are known as the people up north. I want to address some revenue information. First of all, I've heard some people tonight talk about the ad valorem tax report. I have all of the OTC tax reports. I have at least the last 10 years. These documents show the amount that was written back to each county, Mays County being the leader, at an average of $35 to $40 million a year. We've lost over, at this point, $410 million in Mays County alone. As we go. State Bill 609, I'm sure someone will bring that up. 2021 was passed. When this was passed, it was to try and fight the tax exemptions because they're hurting counties, they're hurting school systems, and Google had a real problem with that. If you look back at the record, they exempt, in Mays County, they were able to accomplish another 15 years worth of exemptions. These tax codes apply to things like sales taxes, ad valorem taxes, which is property taxes. Sorry, I'm trying to move through this as quick as I can so I don't run out of time. And doing a poor job of it. So things like SASs, service, software as a service, those things are not taxable in the state of Oklahoma, sales tax exemptions. So they will not pay tax. We know that the data processing, if they derive 80% of their annual gross revenues from sale of a product or service to an out-of-state consumer, that they will not pay tax on that.
boom.
Next question. Why is Mike Carter so interested in this project? Mike Carter, I took the opportunity to read your contract with the city. When I read that contract with the city, you, sir, are eligible for a bonus if this goes through. Additionally to that, in addition to that, sir, you are also eligible for a merit raise as voted on by the city council if they approve it. Ladies and gentlemen, I encourage you to speak to each and every one of your city councilors. Before I wrap this up, if any of you got a flyer in the mail last night at our meeting, I encouraged everybody to take that flyer that you got. Google's backing this, right? This is their information. Use their own weapon. Sit down, take every title and that flyer, type in exactly what that title said, and then put, is it true? Use Google, because that's who's doing this, and find out if every statement they're making tonight is true. The last part of that I want to address, we made a 3% obligation with PSO on our franchise fee. 1% of that is a Parks and Recreation kickback to the city of Sand Springs. In addition to that, if you look at our annual budget, this is on Sand Springs, that 1% that goes things like Parks and Rec. I don't know if that includes the golf course, but last year on our budget report, it cost a little over $1.1 million to run the golf course, and we received a little over $900,000. It's about a $300,000 shortfall on the golf course alone. Hopefully that 1% will help cover things like that. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time. Council, thank you for your time. I hope you take all this to heart and make a decision that's right for the people.
I will answer one part of that. Mike Carter gets absolutely nothing.
Thank you.
Yeah,
His
thank you.
contract, when he did his contract, we didn't even know there were data centers.
Whatever.
There's no data center
Whatever.
bonus in his contract. His contract does have a bonus if he gets sit-down restaurants. And he gets a bonus if he gets a restaurant, not a data center.
He gets a bonus
I
for
will
any
also
sale.
say, let's see, there's something else. Mike, you speak with a great deal of authority, but all the tax exempt things you're seeing there has nothing to do with this Google facility. Nothing. This is gonna stand alone and pay their own way.
Post it, Mike.
Now, I understand all you guys think Mike knows everything, but those two things are absolutely incorrect. I agree. Well, you made two incorrect statements, and I don't know how else to tell you different. Correct. Except that they're not right. Did you say data center anywhere in that? This is not, I apologize, this is not productive, but I just want you to know that Mike Carter is not somebody insinuated or thought he was getting a bonus for doing this data center. That's not correct. No?
Read it. Read it.
We don't have time for that. You can share that, but
Thanks, Mike.
I'm gonna take pictures of it and pass it around.
Part 3.
Alright.
Don't give it to the media. Let them report on it.
Correct.
Yeah.
how about Jordan Green?
My name is Jordan. I live in Sand Springs, and the question I have for you tonight is whether this project in this location has met the standards of responsible planning and governance that we residents of Sand Springs deserve. And my questions are primarily for the city councilors. I want to know what independent analysis has been conducted that was not commissioned or funded by the developer. And I'm not asking about projections or summaries. I want to know about independent environmental and traffic studies, specifically regarding Highway 97, how that highway will support the vehicles and all of the construction equipment and materials that will need to get to this location. I also, if these independent studies exist, where can we review them in full? And also, if they do not exist, why is an irreversible decision being made without them? My second question is, what precedence does this rezoning set? If this project is approved here, what prevents similar industrial developments from being placed near other residential, agricultural, or environmentally sensitive areas in Sand Springs? The precedent that you set with this decision becomes a framework that future councils will inherit. Even if data centers are appropriate for Sand Springs broadly, responsible planning requires acknowledging that some locations are categorically incompatible with industrial scale infrastructure, and this location is one of them. The Sand Springs Comprehensive Plan clearly says that future industrial development should happen in existing industrial areas. This site is not near an industrial corridor. It is not adjacent to industrial uses. It is not connected to industrial infrastructure. The plan also identifies areas where industrial expansion belongs, and this site is not one of them. Rezoning agricultural land for heavy industrial infrastructure moves outside that framework that was already established by the Planning Commission and City Council, which raises a really fundamental planning question. If the comprehensive plan does not guide decisions of this magnitude, what role does it actually serve? As our governing body, you have a responsibility, not just to short-term economic incentives, but you have a responsibility to long-term stewardship of our land, our infrastructure, our public health, and our public trust. So my request is, do not move forward without independent data, clearly defined thresholds for denial, and a transparent demonstration that this project aligns with Sand Springs' long-term planning commitments. So my two questions: what independent analyses have been conducted that were not commissioned or funded by the developer? Where can we review them in full as citizens? If they don't exist, why is an irreversible decision being made without them? And then second, what precedents does this rezoning set?
Very good.
Any answers?
Email it to us.
Are you serious? Right, exactly. Oh my, you should have thought about that before you got here.
Yeah, I have a document, an analysis that I've done of the Sand Springs Comprehensive Plan that was adopted, and there are 8 different sections that outline the ways in which this is incompatible, and so I can email that to you.
Yes,
Please
do
do.
that.
It's a living document, so it changes as time goes forward.
Good.
I think your observation may be good.
Please call back for
Living document.
What's 1.4 golf courses?
How about Stephen Rigsby?
I've lived in Sand Springs about 28 years now. I live in Prattville. Members of the City Council, I am deeply concerned by what appears to be a decision to move forward with a data center without allowing the people of Sand Springs a vote. The citizens of this city regularly vote on matters that affect our taxes, such as funding for roads, schools, and public services, and we accept that responsibility because we are given a voice. In this case, however, we are being asked to pay for a major project through various forms of taxation without being granted the right to decide whether we want it or not.
That's right.
This is fundamentally wrong and runs counter to the principles of representative government. The people of Sand Springs deserve to be heard. Ignoring public input on a project of this magnitude is unacceptable. I urge the council to stop, listen to the citizens, and allow the voters to decide. Why now do we have no voice?
Thank you. Next is Joe Byers.
Why don't we get to blow?
Why isn't there an answer?
One of the most talked about tonight is the economics. And the young lady asked about about that, and I asked about it, I would love to see an economic impact study. Make it publicly available, because I know what that does, I actually do it myself. To show where the money's coming from, where it's going, and if you haven't done one, I don't understand why, because I've been asked by an energy company to look at another data center in Oklahoma, in Central Oklahoma, where they want to put one, if I could run one on through the system, through OSU where I work. And all. But that would show all the funding, all the flows, and set us all up. And then we look at the pure, we can look at the pure economics, and then address any other issues that the community may have. That's all I want to do.
Thank you. Kay Henry.
Hi, I'm a resident of Sand Springs. I lived in town for many years. I've been around this community for over 30 years. I moved out when I married my husband, Aubrey Henry, and we moved out to his place on North 97. That is agricultural. You are destroying our land out there. If you want a data center, then put it in an industrial site somewhere here, but not on our agricultural land. We have ranchers out there, we have cattlemen out there, that's their whole life. This is how they make their living. We eat the food that they bring to us. You're going to destroy that land. It will not be fit for wildlife. It will not be fit for cattle. It will not be fit for horses, as other people have stand up here and said. You're killing it. I'm against this data center. Those are my reasons. And another reason I agree with is Highway 97 cannot support that traffic. Cannot. There is not any way that that highway can support that traffic. I've driven that road for 25 years. Not going to happen. I thank you for your time. Please consider, please think hard on this and consider all these people's lives that you're destroying.
Let us go!
Thank you.
Let us go!
Juliana Bennett. Juliana Bennett. Yeah, there's a lot. Juliana Bennett.
So my name is Jelena Bennett. I am a fourth generation. My children are fifth generation Sandites. So I definitely take it offensive when I'm told that I don't have a voice or that we don't matter up north. That's very offensive to us. We have been Sandites for 100 years, and that's very offensive. So the Sand Springs 2030 Land Use Master Plan, or the City of Sand Springs Comprehensive Plan, was prepared by the City Planning Department and adopted by the Council on June 26, 2017, and is found on your website. The people who contributed to the process of developing the said plan and still serving in office by either serving in office or employment are Mike Cotter, Brad Bates, Jim Spoon, David Weatherford, Mike Burge, Bo Wilson, Brian Jackson, Thomas Askew, Paul Schendel, and Harold Neal. At one time, you all participated in creating a policy document to, and I quote, provide guidance to the city officials as they develop future budgets, plan for expansion of infrastructure and other services, and make important land decisions such as rezoning requests. I'd like to submit Exhibit A, the land use designation map, land use evaluation matrix, and the table, which clearly indicates district is, quote, inappropriate for agriculture land. I understand this plan is not a firm or inflexible document, as you very deliberately stated. But I think we can all agree that as outlined in the Sand Springs Zoning Code Regulations, Chapter 12, Planned Unit Development, or PUD, this PUD is not consistent with the comprehensive plan. As previously stated, the comprehensive plan clearly indicates that it would be inappropriate to rezone agriculture land to industrial. This PUD does not harmonize with the existing and expected development of the surrounding area. This PUD rezoning or data center is significantly different from the nearby and surrounding properties. The expected development, once again, does not align with the long-term vision of the comprehensive plan. The proposed project will cause significant adverse effects on nearby properties, such as diminish the value and usability of adjacent land, causing a negative economic impact often seen by proximity to industrial or high-traffic projects. There's a risk of physical damage and structural integrity to surrounding homes during the blasting that would no doubt occur. It would diminish livability and use by reducing quality of life due to constant increased noise, constant light pollution, increased traffic on inadequate roads, and loss of privacy and peace for the residents in the surrounding area that invested in rural homes for that intent and purpose, for privacy, peace, and quiet. The introduction of a data center or rezoning to industrial would create atmospheric elements that are out of character with the surrounding environment, causing visual and aesthetic degradation. And lastly, there are environmental and health hazards from air pollution, noise pollution, possible odor pollution, and groundwater contamination that could be detrimental to area homesteaders that grow their own food. The many livestock producers in the area that not only feed themselves, but also America, and fish and wildlife. This PUD is not a unified treatment of the development possibilities of the project site. It does not cohesively integrate all aspects such as homes, open space, farming, nature, or infrastructure into a single, well-planned whole. Because once again, as indicated in your comprehensive plan, and I think the only thing that we the people agree with you on is that it's inappropriate to rezone agricultural land to industrial. In closing, I just want to say to all the Planning Commission and City Council, my goal here tonight is to remind you what the vision of Sand Springs was, based on the comprehensive plan, that it is a policy in place to serve as a guide when your vision has been clouded by greed and selfishness. I urge you to seek the depths of your souls and ask yourself, would you want this in your backyard? If the answer is no, then you know that your vote should also be no.
Angie at 5105 North State Highway 97. Angie, I can't read your last name. Starts with a T. True Love, that would be it. Angie True Love.
That's my neighbor. Come on, Angie.
I'm offended by you. I'm from Sand Springs. My great-great-great-grandmother started Anderson School. I have, with where the mineral rights are concerned, I'm a shareholder. You are barking up the wrong tree. I'm also a Hilligoss, and that name is familiar with around here, I'm sure too. I'm from here. We don't want it. I'm a mile away from the data center. As far as the road holding a 200,000 to 300,000 pound transformer up and down these roads, it's not gonna happen.
We hauled them to Google. That's what I did. It will break that road. That road is going to become Google's driveway. Am I correct?
Yeah, 100%.
We live out here.
Yep.
I'm offended.
I'm offended with her.
Yep.
I don't even live up there. Half a mile, I'm
I
offended.
don't.
It's a very dangerous
I have
road.
a granddaughter, a daughter, a husband. We all have lung problems. You're gonna put that in my air?
Nope.
What if it catches on fire? What are you gonna do then? How are you gonna put that fire out? You're gonna move me into town to put that fire out? Because that's what we're gonna have to do. We're gonna all have to get up and walk away. That's all. That's all I have to say. Reconsider your vote.
It's all about money.
Come on, Linda. And that road.
Glenda Davis.
People killed on the road. It took us forever to get that road repaved. Well, they're not.
No Glenda Davis?
Humanoid robots.
Darren Blanchard. Mike check, Darren Blanchard. As the previous speaker, I am also offended by your lack of knowledge on this situation. I have a question directly to White Rose Partners. In a recent court case involving the Osage tribe and Enel Green Power, it was ruled the commercial construction process disturbed the mineral, and Enel failed to obtain a permit from the tribe. The tribe has the mineral rights. It's my understanding White Rose Partners did not consult with the tribe prior to Project Spring being announced.
Yep.
If that's true, I question your business acumen.
I know.
If you can't do something as basic as consult with the tribe, why should we trust you as a good neighbor? And Ms. Franco, I just want to let you know that Mays County has 9 solar projects in the queue according to Southwest Power Pool, and 9 battery energy storage systems in the queue according to the Southwest Power Pool. That's 18 energy infrastructure projects that are going to be afforded by the ratepayers. So don't give me that line of crap that's saying you fund everything. City Council, in your mutual discussions related to Project Spring, do you believe it is appropriate to defame members of the community without merit? For example, is it standard business practice of the city to name people and label them as quote-unquote crazy in text message communication? Let me ask another way. How is this not public defamation?
Oh, I think it is. It is. Libel.
Would you like proof of that text message?
Yeah. I want to see
That was the question.
it. If you want to see it, answer the question.
Would you like proof of that text message? Is the question.
Prove it.
It's pertaining to public defamation.
Answer the question.
Where was your psychological evaluation of Miss Melissa Myers when you called her crazy, Mr. Barnett? Went to the restroom, convenient time. How do you know? So how about I provide you a copy of that text message? You can let me know if you believe that is public defamation.
I just want to address the question about the Mineral Council. We started our engagement with the Mineral Council in August. I know there's been alternate stories about our timeline and our level of engagement with them. we met with them, and we have every intention of working with the Mineral Council to ensure that we abide by all the rules that you just mentioned, and avoid a situation like the wind farm did, because that is not our intent. We're looking to partner with those that own the mineral rights and make sure we do right by the Osage Mineral Council.
You intend to let us vote on this?
Well, they've been mining our conversations. White, they do. What, they've been mining our conversations. Every council meeting has been mined.
Time's up. Okay, I'm giving them a text message. I cut it out just like a phone so they can read it.
That's your job.
Next is Tammy Bradley.
Oh, okay. I won't slam the microphone. All right, I'm Tammy Bradley. I live out north of town. As a crow flies, I'm probably a mile, 2 miles from the site. So I've written this. I'm going to read it to you because it keeps me on task. I'm wife of the late Daniel Bradley. He was the Sand Springs police chief. He also served as both interim city manager and assistant city manager after he retired twice. It has been stated that Daniel would have been proud and he would have been pro-annexation and thus pro-data center. He's not here. But I do not believe that this is true. In addition to his leadership roles for the city of Sand Springs, Daniel Bradley was first and foremost a farmer. He would have never endorsed a secret annexation, the destruction of the livelihood of third and fourth and even fifth generation farming families off of Highway 97 in North Road, or Roxco Road, sorry. He would not have supported the blatant disregard of the sacrificial cost of the people who live in that community, and they have no representation, no vote. Daniel also loved people, and he never forgot where he came from. He was a humble man, and I always said that he was one of the wisest men I have ever known. He would have never supported rezoning farmland to light industrial. That land will forever be changed. It can never go back to being agriculture. And it's 827 acres. It's not like it was, we lived on a 155-acre ranch. This is much, much larger. Okay, but mostly he would never build a future for Sand Springs on the backs of the people and the community that have no say. So here's my question. My understanding, I'll have to address the lady from Google. I understand that this will be open 24/7. Am I correct? A data center never shuts down.
Correct.
Okay, so then my question is, what is the cost of downtime per day for Google if there is a drought or if there is a power outage? And if that's even a possibility, or will those outages be avoided by passing that along to the citizens of Sand Springs or the people of North?
Oh, yeah. They get first dibs.
No, I'm not asking a financial cost. I'm asking cost of electricity. I'm asking for a cost of our water. I know you've said that you will not use water. I don't believe that's true because this is an ongoing moving target. So initially you may not use water, but I think that's what you've represented yourself in saying. But I think eventually there will be water usage. My question is, when there is a drought in the state of Oklahoma, which is often, are we going to be, are there going to be people who, let's say that they have a certain address, they can only use their water on Mondays and Wednesdays or whatever? Do you understand what I'm asking? Or the same with a power outage? Rations, thank you guys.
And they
It's
get
great word.
first dibs. 100%, they get first dibs.
So that's my question, does the Google get the first dibs on all of those resources and will we just be without?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay, can you explain that to me?
Yep.
So in the case of a drought and the case of a power outage, you just continue to work with no power and no water.
Okay. If you do, it's a miracle.
I'm not trying to be smart, I'm really not. Okay, certainly.
In the case of a power outage, we have backup generators on the facility. We test those for minutes per month to make sure they're operational and ready for usage in the case of a large-scale power outage.
What are they running on?
If we're not using water to cool the facility, there will be no impact to water whatsoever.
How does the generator run?
Generally, yeah, but
Diesel. It's all diesel.
Can you guarantee that future use will not use water and there will be no water runoff
No diesel.
forever?
Forever.
There's no water runoff regardless. We work with wastewater treatment plants for any water.
You're gonna have to
give her the mic.
Okay, but wastewater treatment plants, obviously Sandsprings is a smaller community, they are not gonna be able to accommodate you. So will you create your own?
Yep.
We work with all water authorities and wastewater treatment plants to ensure that they can accommodate any usage from the data center. In other communities where there has been a lack of a wastewater treatment plant of the appropriate size, we have built one and donated to the city. The conversations right now are focusing on air cooling and not using large amounts of water. So we don't anticipate problems along those lines. We will work with all the authorities locally to ensure that they have the facilities they need and that Google bears the cost for any upgrades or changes that are needed due to having the data center there. This is how we have operated in communities all across the country for many, many years. We will do the same thing here.
Forcing us onto sewage and adding a new bill. Thanks.
Yep.
No, that's all, my time is up, but thank you, and I just ask all of you to please reconsider. I know this is very, very a positive thing financially for Sand Springs. These are livelihoods, these are people who live in a community that has, I wish you could just come to church with me one time. I wish you could just see the love that we have and just the fellowship and the people who live out here. To destroy that, to add this, it's heartbreaking. So I just ask that you really think about it hard. Thank you.
Thank you, Tammy. The city will be forever grateful for Daniel Bradley. He was such a great guy. Donna Fritz.
Well, I sit here and look at all these people up here in front of me, and I have been here for 80 years.
Woo! Woo!
Town, I cannot figure why you would turn your back on us. How'd you guys find out about Sand Springs, by the way?
They mined it. Ringo went after it.
Out of all the continental United States, this is the last place in the world that you need to be. And if any of you ever watched this movie called, oh God, I hate when I get old, Norma Ray. We're doing a Norma Ray deal right here, right now.
Yes, ma'am!
Yep.
All I got to say. I got one more thing to say.
Come on!
Most important, my God was bigger than my cancer, and I'll guarantee you he is bigger than a data center.
Annette Kennedy, it looks like.
Hi there, I'm speaking on behalf of the Kennedy family. We live about a mile downstream on the Delaware Creek from the proposed site. The question to the council, and you have said no water runoff into Delaware Creek because there's no water usage, correct?
We need a sewage plant.
So we haven't done enough background check to understand the topography Okay, so who do I direct that to? And so the question is, if they decide that there's not a sewer system to run groundwater or to run excess water into, there's a letter in August that says that they could possibly use Turkey Creek or Delaware Creek.
Wow.
Yep.
Am I wrong?
No, you're not. It's out there.
It's in the letter, in an August letter,
Yep.
said that it was an alternative to using a sewer line that we would dump into Delaware Creek.
Oh, no.
Delaware Creek, we have a half mile of it that runs through our family property. It divides our property in half. If the water levels come up, we can't use the other half of our land. We don't raise the cattle that we would normally run over there. Now we have weather, and we watch the weather reports, and we run cattle over there, and when the weather says, oh, we got a big rain, we run the cattle back. And we trust that forecasting to understand how to use that agricultural land. If the water runs down through that creek, we will not get a notice that says, run your cattle back across the creek.
That's right.
The cattle will not be able to drink it, they will not be able to cross it, we will not be able to take machinery across it. We then lose our agricultural land.
Yep.
Over 100 acres on that side of the creek of our 400 acres will not be usable.
Whoa.
How about that, Google?
How's that gonna be compensated?
Here comes another lie.
Good evening. My name is Brent Massey. I'm a civil engineer with Kinley Horn. We have looked at all of the things that you have talked about. Our intent is to any domestic wastewater to be piping that back to the Sand Springs wastewater treatment plant. So we are not discharging any of our water or sewer.
Intentions are lies.
Through a pipe system.
We're on septic. We don't run sewer.
We've looked at it.
Nobody wants another bill and a sewage bill.
You're right, there is no pipe today, and we're looking at using existing right-of-ways that the city and local municipalities already have to run additional pipe up to the site.
There is no sewage. We're on septic. Nothing exists.
And so we're still talking about intents of what we're doing, not guarantees, not anything contractual thus far. We're still looking on intent.
Intentions
My
are
other
lies.
point was, this is further reaching than Sand Springs. Skytook and Sperry, I am a Sperryite, yes. I teach in Tulsa. I teach an outdoor adventure class. I bring kids to my property. We have a camp out overnight, and I have kids that go, wow.
Yeah, they do.
There are stars.
Yeah.
When we're doing what's best for we are far more reaching than just Sand Springs, and we are reaching people widespread in what it is that we are doing here. Please protect our sky from that light pollution that is going to be there. I will not be able to have those same conversations with those kids that I teach.
Next is Justin Stanley.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, City Council, thank you for your time. Thank you guys for setting this up to hear us out. My name is Justin Stanley. So I live closer to this data center than I do the city of Sand Springs proper.
Same.
And I'm not anti-data center. I'm a 20-year-old technologist. I build data centers, smaller scale, obviously not Google. I get it. We need them. These are should be part of critical infrastructure to a certain degree, right? Everybody here is using the internet, right? I totally get all that stuff. However, I am anti-dislocation. And I know you guys... I know you guys said you're not going to comment on the annexation, and I'm going to respect that, but the annexation was really the catalyst of this entire project, and I'm going to speak to it briefly. In my experience, again, I've never been on city council, but I've seen annexation, and it's typically, our city's too big, we need more homes, we're going to expand the city limits, we're going to provide sewer, we're going to provide water, ambulance services, police services, and that's that's so far away from what this is. This is not serving the public benefits, it's serving the benefits of these developers and the end user. That's it. So you guys jumped 5 miles of agricultural land from the edge of Sand Springs proper. You jumped 5 miles. 5 miles. This isn't putting this thing up by Pogue Airport. I mean, you guys jumped 5 miles by this thing. And I think we all know why. The reality of this is, residents of Sand Springs proper don't have to deal with this. They don't drive up 97. We all do. We all drive up 97. We deal with all these impacts, right? You've heard many of us, right? About the noise pollution, light pollution, construction traffic, up and down 97. We all have to deal with this thing. And the infuriating part of this, which has been said, I'm going to say it again, is I can't even vote you guys out. I have 0 representation. No. So I'll close. I know you guys, sounds like you've already made your mind up on a lot of this, especially based on the public record. But what I'll say to those fortunate of you, in the room that are fortunate enough to actually have representation, take your local politics seriously, because it actually matters, guys. It actually matters. Thanks for your time.
Lisa Black. Lisa Black. No. Kelly Black. Same address. Jessica Morgan.
My name is Jessica Morgan, and I'm going to read to you because otherwise I talk real fast and get off track. I am part of the Up North group. I've lived up there for 25 years, and I'm an English teacher. That means I'm a reader. I've been reading since I was in kindergarten, and I teach kids reading comprehension now. And since learning about the proposed data center, I have read constantly. I've read the developer materials, I've read the industry reports, I've read the academic research and the local reporting from communities that already live next door to data centers just like this one. And what I know is that even tonight, we still don't have clear answers about how large this complex will ultimately grow, how many buildings will be added over time, or how long tax exemptions will remain in place. Words matter, and words like the initial building are suspicious. It tells us that initially they're going to use air-cooled, or initially they're going to do this. But words matter, friends. What happens after initially is over?
Yes, yes.
Rezoning is permanent. Once it's approved, this city loses its leverage. Promises are cheap, friend. Intents rarely become reality, and requests to just trust us become demands that give the operators anything they want at any cost to us. If this project is truly a benefit, then the full build-out plans, the tax arrangements, the infrastructure costs, the water and electricity usage should be disclosed now.
Yes.
And they should be put into binding agreements before we rezone, not after.
Yes.
I'm from the country, folks. We know the horse goes after the cart. $100 billion. That's billions with a B in 2024. But they didn't pay their full tax bill to Meigs County. We covered another $40 million for them, despite the fact that they made $100 billion that same year. I also want to share Mike Carter's words in that letter that he told us just tonight was just the city saying they could support the possible center. He begins that letter saying the City of Sand Springs administration strongly supports Project Spring due to its significant positive impact on both our community and the state. And the rest of that letter, Mike, it's an offer. It's not just support. It reads like a salesman selling a car. You offered them 11 million gallons a day from Skytooth Lake. You offered them our creeks for wastewater dumping. You offered nearby yards for 5 miles of sewer line. Friends, that's not just offering information and support. That's you selling us out.
Yeah.
Thank you. Pam Warren.
Okay, my name is Pam Warren. I live on 57th Place North, which the way the crow flies is about a half a mile from this proposed center. My family owns 5 properties in Sand Springs city limits. We have paid taxes, but we have never been allowed to vote. Most of the questions I had tonight have been addressed. My big concern is you say no PFAs, but I do not believe that. I have read many, many things, and everything I've read, whether it's air-cooled or water-cooled, PFAs are omitted into the ground, into the water, and I also read the letter where it was going to be dumped in Delaware Creek and Turkey Creek, and that's just not acceptable. I have 3 grandchildren that live closer to this site than I do, and I understand the part about we want money for our schools, but are we willing to trade our children's health to get a minuscule amount of money that's not going to go very far? That being said, I have one other question. I had to go down to my 4th question because everybody else addressed everything I wanted to say. You have stated in the postcard that came to my house that there was going to be thousands of construction jobs from local Oklahomans. And what I want to know is if you plan on fulfilling those, will there be a contract that you might fill 80% of those jobs with Oklahomans? And the thing that really bothers me is that who's going to hold you accountable? Is it this panel right here? Or are you going to sign a contract? That's what I want to know. That's my question. And I would like you to answer that. And then I'm done.
No one wants to answer because they know it's true.
If this project goes forward, our general contractor will be hiring the construction workers.
Of course.
And I don't have a guarantee of a minimum for Oklahomans, but our trend across all of our operational sites is that we hire local workers whenever they're available.
No. Lies.
That is not a satisfactory answer, in my opinion. That wasn't an answer. I want to know, is there going to be a contract? And if so, who is going to hold that contract and make sure that you're accountable for it? Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
they know they're wrong.
Next is, looks like Bill Ashlock. Bill Ashlock. Kennedy Garza. Kennedy Garza. Makes the list a lot shorter.
Lucky for you, huh?
Brent Massey. Nancy Moran. Nancy Moran.
Thank you. I actually live in Tulsa, so I'm kind of an interloper, but I've been watching.
Welcome in.
Thank you so much. I'm a public health nurse, and I felt like it was disingenuous for someone, the nice Google lady, I'm sorry, I don't remember your name, to say that there's no harmful, nothing that's harmful to health from data centers. First of all, data centers are driving up the use of electricity, probably about 30% in the next few years, which is going to drive up costs. Mr. Rodrigo, said that the consumers are not going to have to pay for the infrastructure. But yet, we're going to need new power sources. And who's going to pay for that?
We are.
And, 30% of people already have trouble paying their electric bills. And when you can't pay your electric bills, you have to sacrifice other needs, such as medicine and food.
Yep.
Or if you're older like me with, arthritis, I fear cold. I probably don't need to be as cheap as I am. I probably need to heat it up a bit so my feet aren't so cold. It drives, when you can't keep your home cool enough, it can impact mental health. Make people more irritable. If you have congestive heart disease or diabetes, it's hard on your kidneys. Climate change. Unfortunately, PSO had received an A from the Sierra Club for their commitment to clean energy goals, and I know they're good people that work there, but however, I'm afraid that due to the heavy load users like data centers, we're going to abandon those greenhouse gas emission goals. What's happening in our climate is becoming destabilized. Sometimes we don't like to hear that, but sometimes we have to believe what we see with our eyes and see the the extreme weather, the drought, people not knowing when they should plant seeds anymore. That's a public health crisis. Climate change is a public health crisis that's displacing people and destroying people's homes and making them sick through increased vectors like mosquitoes that carry diseases like Lyme disease. So I'm concerned that it's disingenuous to say there is no harmful health effects. Lady asked about what happens when we have a power outage. In different areas around the world, around the country where there's data centers, they're relying on generators that are fueled by methane and diesel, which contain PM 2.5, nitric oxide. People don't realize that air pollution in this country kills more people than guns. It's a silent form of violence. So I'd also like to know, yes, that's, I would like to know if our costs are going to be increased, how will PSO work with communities to make sure that we have more access to weatherization and energy efficiency, because we are really gonna need it. We can't balance the budget of data centers on our backs. Thank you.
Thank you. Kenneth Blevins.
I usually don't do this, but I'm actually going to read something I wrote, because if I don't, I'll probably likely tell you what I'm really thinking about when you guys are getting ready to do this city, you know. But my name is Kenneth Blevins. I've grown up in Sand Springs, and I have some questions. What are the health effects of this data center, and who will bear the cost of them when they eventually arise? How will you monitor the carcinogens of the air and the water pollution, and the effect that the air pollution will have on the respiratory and cardiovascular system of the residents? The mental and physical effects of noise pollution, both audible and infrasound. The issues with sleep, anxiety, cognitive development that will affect the children that will be attending Sand Springs schools. Who will those affected be compensated by? Google, or will the citizens of Sand Springs be able to look to civil litigation to the ones that decided to disrupt the peaceful rural area and turn it into a 24/7 sound-producing industrial park with the sights and sounds that residents have tried to escape off moving to the country and being ever present? When the health of this community is put in peril, who will be held accountable? They say the path to hell is paved in good intentions. And we've witnessed government at all levels. Yep. From the Patriot Act, which infringed on constitutional rights, to the Affordable Health Care Act, which raised premiums and made health care unaffordable, to data centers sprouting up all around Oklahoma. That those things passed in good intentions have a detrimental effect. We repeatedly see political promises are only as good as those that make them, and the promises of corporations hold just as much water.
Yes.
We've seen the tax amounts that have come from Oklahoma's paid to Google in Mays County, or for Google in Mays County. Why are we to expect anything different here? We've witnessed the cost increases from infrastructure and from electrical companies. Why are we to expect anything different here? When I ran for political office, I stay away from political promises. But one of those I will always make is to read every bill, not with the intent in mind, but with careful consideration of the pain it will cause. The pain it will cause will affect the people I represent. I believe this data center will bring more harm to the citizens of Sand Springs than it benefit.
Yes.
As you are elected representatives of all Sand Springs, and doing no harm should take precedence over any personal or political gain for yourself. Is selling out your community really worth the benefit you will receive? On behalf of myself and my neighbors, please protect our health, our homes. Don't build this data center, and don't rezone. Thank you. Oh, and if you want another place to put it, you can maybe look at green space where you tore down the rodeo arena, which was another finger to the real people of this state.
Phil Nolan.
Hi guys. Phil Nolan. I live approximately 3 miles as the crow flies from where the data center is going to be. But I may be living 2 miles as the crow flies if they end up putting it over there at Polk Airport, which is another discussion that's happening right now, I understand.
Oh, wait, what? Yep.
Oh. What?
Yeah, they're trying to find all kinds of places
Anyway, I just want to talk about the money real quick. You know, I understand the money a little bit since I've served on city council. I have a lot of respect for all of you. I really do consider you friends. And so I must agree, some of the things that I've read in the undisclosed information that was shared, I took personally. And I've had a discussion with a couple of you all, and I appreciate that. So life is good, and we'll move on, okay? I personally, from what I know about the budget and the direction that our city is going, I don't think the risk is worth the reward on this exercise. And let me explain why. Our city budget over the last 10 years has grown 7% year over year. And currently, right now, our general fund has gone from the last 10 years from 10 million to about approximately 20 million. That's almost a 100% increase. Our overall total budget is $80 to $90 million when you count the Municipal Trust Authority. Our emergency savings is fully funding. Our strategic reserves are fully funded. We're working on a $15 million bonds projects. We just spent almost $25 million in projects in the city the last few years. We have a capital project funds of $13 million. What projects are we working on? Well, you know them: Sheffield Crossing, River West Development's about finished or is finished. The Trails is a 65-acre residential neighborhood that our city is putting in for development purposes, which is great, awesome. Pogue Airport projects, the Berry School Sewer Project, new animal welfare facility, the downtown plaza, the new dog park, park and trail improvements, Page Park splash pad. We just recently put in a new police and fire station, one. Museum remodel. Our old municipal building got updated. We have a new Sand Springs Public Works Spring Lake campus, $5 million property. We bought a new ladder truck when I was still on council. That ladder truck alone was $1 million. And we just ordered another truck and paid cash in advance, and we won't accept delivery for 5 years from now. What? Well, we did that to save money, which is awesome, which is good, being good stewards of our money at the city, and I appreciate that. My point in all this is the city is growing. The city is growing. The city is doing well. We don't need to sacrifice. You know, they're throwing out a number of $100 million over 25 years because they will be paying no property taxes for 25 years. If they're lining up this deal like Project Clydesdale, which is what I understand, the tax increment finance district they'll put in place, there will be no taxes paid for 25 years. So in lieu of taxes, they do what's called a payout in lieu of taxes, called pilot. And you've heard some of the amounts, $1 million to Sand Springs schools. Well, the school budget in the last 10 years has gone from 40 million to 60 million. We have the same student population now that we did 10 years ago. In fact, it's a little bit less. They are working on a $114 million bond project right now that was just approved. Add all that up, that's a lot of money. Is $1 million really going to make a difference? No, it's $1 million company. Is 2 or 3 or 4 million, well, it's probably more like 2 or 3 million, going to make a difference to the city of Sand Springs and what it does for us? No, not really, okay? When it sacrifices the families who live out, hundreds of families who live out right within a mile of the data center site. Hundreds of families. Did you look at the map that I provided you guys? I provided you all each paperwork. My wife and I gave you letters, and I hope you read them. Those maps show all the property lines, everybody around the property. Within a mile, within a half a mile, with 2 miles. It's a lot of people. And you know, when I was on council, I was very much pro-business and pro-moving forward. But when it came to hurting the people, no, that's where I drew the line. I'm not going to hurt the people. I could say more, and I will say more in the future meetings. I appreciate you guys. Google, I appreciate the effort, trying to come in and stuff. And you're just doing your job, I understand that. I'm an IT guy, a former IT vice president, matter of fact, for an oil and gas company. So I understand IT a little bit, okay? But to humor the audience, Mike Bennett mentioned you should look at the card and look at the subject line of each part of the mailer that went out. And it said, when regarding energy, and I Googled it, it said, no, data centers do not universally or fund all required power upgrades. Okay. Regarding air-cooled systems, no, Google data centers don't only use air-cooled systems. They primarily use water-based cooling systems. Regarding how quiet they are, no, Google data centers do not have noise similar to a typical quiet office park. And then finally, the jobs for a large hyperscale data center, permanent jobs, is between 35 and 50 people. This was from Google themselves.
JD, do you have anything to add?
Thank you for having us here and for having this conversation. And I didn't do any quote prepared remarks because honestly, I thought there's going to be so many people here speaking that I was just going to pass on it, and then I totally got talked into it over there. So, but I do have some questions, and these are things that I have thought about. For those of you that may not know, my family has lived in Sand Springs for 5 generations. That's how far back my family goes in this community, and I love my community. I love the people. I love who we are as Sandites. And until now, I've always thought we were so unified. I felt like, golly, we're very special. We've got a beautiful story, a beautiful history, and the kind of heart that Charles Page had for people. And I'm hoping that that never changes. To me, that's so, so very important. But my question, and I didn't mention this, but I did serve on the school board, because I love kids. I did serve on the school board for 11 years, and then served as our state representative, which was such a blessing to get to represent a community like ours. So my question, though, and this one hasn't been talked about at all, but because that is not an industrial park, but it's ag land. And not only that, it's in Osage County. Well, if you live up in Osage County, you know it is rocky. I mean, lots and lots and lots of rock. And yeah, it's pretty much all rock. And I know that whenever we had to put in the new Highway 97, not we, but the state of Oklahoma, they dynamited to the rock because it was so intense there, so dense. And a lot of the people that lived around that construction of the highway, their foundations were destroyed. And so my question is, because there is so much rock in Osage County, and there will be lots of rock, you should know this, okay? Lots of rock in that 827 acres. Will there be dynamiting if it needs to happen? And then the other question I have is, during the construction, how will we stay at that 65 decibels? Because I think that's going to be very, very difficult to do with the construction going on there. And we do have kids that live right there close by. And so you do want to make sure that the environment is good for the kids that go to our Sand Springs Public Schools, the kids that are growing up in the country.
and those families that live there. And that's one thing that has not been asked. The other thing is, and I didn't even have any prepared remarks, and I already got timed out. But just real quick. The other question I have is, Pryor is going on 20 years of construction. So, with that being said, are we talking about possibly 20 years of construction up and down our little 2-lane road without any shoulders, with some of them not very good ditches, some of them very steep ditches? And, how will we move forward with that? How will that ongoing construction impact the noise, the dust? I thought that was a really good point to be made. How will that be taken care of? And once again, how will these agreements, unless they're inked, and I'm not talking about detailed inked, I don't know how this gets enforced. How will these agreements really be enforced on how this will go forward? Does anybody want to answer any of those?
Thank you. Answer. Where's the geological studies?
Huh? Yeah, that was the state, yeah. Okay, thank you very much. Just food for thought, okay, guys? Sure appreciate it.
We haven't seen it, so otherwise I think we love them.
The city did it in Kimball when they decided to do their septic systems and break everything out into little neighborhoods, so they know what's on. Got a response? Nothing?
Heather Vest.
No answers, huh?
Come on up.
That's such bull crap.
Similar to me, others are prepared what I was going to say because I'm afraid I'm going to derail. I'm a 5th generation Sandite. I'm a local real estate agent, and I'm a wife to an engineer who actually has worked in dozens of data centers and still works in them remotely, which is very ironic. I'm not speaking from fear, I'm speaking from experience and from deep roots here. Before anything else, I want to acknowledge the city councilors in your service. You've given up evenings, family time, peace of mind to sit here in these seats. You do it not for recognition or pay. You do it because you believe in leadership, which means protecting people. Even when decision is uncomfortable. That's why this decision matters. Sand Springs has already learned this lesson. For over 100 years, Sheffield Steel stood here. It took land, water, and resources, but it actually gave something back. It gave, for at least 5 generations, if not more, it gave real jobs, real wages, real opportunity. And even after a century of benefit, the land it left behind is still damaged, restricted, and permanently limited today. Which I know you guys are working on, but that's what long-term impact looks like. Now we're being asked to permanently convert agricultural land, living, productive land, into an industrial infrastructure for a data center that will employ very few people, long-term, it may be obsolete within a single generation. I have kids within their generation. The benefits are short-term. That land loss is forever. And this keeps being framed as inevitable, as if it's going to happen. It doesn't have to happen. It doesn't. Even on a federal level, there have been identified large-scale infrastructure. There have been, even our president has even understands that there's land that should be treated differently. I mean, President Trump even mentioned federal land could be used for this. And
And they'll have to pay the tax on it. They do it better.
Some uses belong on land that's already been designated for heavy industry, not on productive agricultural ground tied to our local community. At the same time, the technology is changing itself. The people building these systems are already talking about more efficient models that require less land, not more. I mean, we've all heard even about them moving them to satellites, where it doesn't even need this. Okay, last thing. This industry does not treat this footprint as permanent. Then why should Sand Springs? We need to realize that once this decision has been made, it is permanent. What is your legacy that you want to leave for Sand Springs?
Brian Ingram.
I got a couple of questions. You talk about noise at the fence line. This is 826 acres. Which fence line? The entire, so I'm a buddy. So you're gonna come to my fence line and measure the sound? Or are you gonna go to the very farthest point away from where people live to measure the sound? Okay. So who's gonna hold you to that? City code, so I can call the police and they will come out and do what? Because I have read that noise ordinances don't apply because we're in the county. I have nobody to go to. Like I have nobody to go to on this board, I will have nobody to go to. Because, am I gonna call the sheriff? Because it's not Osage County anymore, now it's Sand Springs.
Yep.
Okay, who's gonna hold them to the 65?
Facility will be in the city limits. Okay. The city will hold,
Okay, so when it's above 65 at my fence line, I'm gonna be able to call, and what are you gonna do about it? We're gonna investigate?
And then what?
We'll enforce it.
Okay.
How?
Do you have plans for enforcement?
How?
I know you're getting tired of listening to us, bitch and whine.
I don't want you to say, we can just, Google would have to fix it. It's gonna be contractual.
Okay.
Until they'll have to fix it.
Okay. Now the sewer line, I wanna address the sewer line that goes up there. You're gonna take eminent domain over 5 miles worth of people's houses that aren't gonna benefit from the sewer line to benefit them. Do what? I understand that, but you're gonna come through my yard.
That's
My
right.
right away.
Yep.
Mine too. You're not? You realize there is not a sewer line up there.
Yeah, we're all septic out there.
I'm talking sewer, back to the city. Okay, but it goes through my property, through my land. Okay. All right. And Mike Carter, you said you wanted to make this a pros and cons conversation. Everybody here, most everybody here is probably con, and you're limiting us to about 3 minutes. I know I'm probably going over a little bit, but everybody that's sitting in front of me is pro. You don't have any cons up here. You didn't invite Mike to sit on the board up here. You didn't invite anybody from this group who has done a lot more research on how this is going to affect us financially, physically, everything. How come you didn't invite the con person to sit up here and refute all of these stories that these people have sold all of these people?
How about the money?
You have Kyle standing right there, who's done more research, and Mike, who's done more research than I guarantee you, all of you collectively. You're taking the words of these 6, 7 people sitting over here, for gospel.
That don't even live
But
in
these
the
people
money.
have put their nose in a book. They have spent since the 1st of November researching how this is going to affect us financially and every other way that is possible. Why didn't you invite those people for your pros and cons talk to address all of these people openly, like you let all these people address? That's my question to you.
We did. We've spent about 2.5 hours here listening to the cons. That's what the purpose of this meeting is. So if Kyle wants to talk tonight, he can talk, but that's what we've done this is not a required meeting. We held this meeting to give you all, hey.
It's an open public meeting.
Be respectful. Enough.
Okay, you're gonna treat
We
me
have
like a
sat
child,
here and
alright.
listened to you
So-
all shout. Be respectful.
We dedicated 2.5 hours. We limited the time that Google and White Rose had to talk and said we wanted the citizens. We prioritized the people who live next to the center.
No, doesn't sound like it.
The mayor just read when we started off this meeting, and we made a decision today to put the people who live next to that facility as a priority for speaking to this meeting. That's what this meeting,
Can you not listen? You ask him a question, let him answer.
So I live next door to it. Like, my land touches this land, and I'm 2.5 hours in before I can speak. You let people in Tulsa speak. I mean, I'm just saying.
I don't know how that happened. The intent was to give the people who live next to it, we didn't try to load this up with a lot of people who were pro. We wanted the people here to have the majority of the say that live next to the facility. I don't know what else we could have done on that, but that is that. If there are people that want. So we've heard from some people more than others tonight.
Well,
And
nobody else
so
is gonna
we
speak
wanted-
up and tell you to get on with the daggum vote.
There's no vote tonight.
Okay. So let's.
That was said right as the meeting started.
We don't
There was
know
not,
here.
we wanted to give you a chance to speak, and you've used that.
So are you gonna let Mike come back up if he has anything to say, and you're definitely gonna give Kyle enough time to talk?
Kyle's got a minute.
Okay.
Thank you. Kelly Buchman, am I saying that right?
We thought Kyle was talking.
Whoever's next.
Okay, you will talk. Hi, my name is Kelly Vogelman. I'm from Claremore, Oklahoma. We stand united with you guys. I am proud to be an Okie. I was born in Indiana. I hope you guys will adopt me. I know you've got quite a few generations here. I would like to talk to you, ma'am. I appreciate that you come in here in good faith, but who picked out the land, you said? Who picked out the site?
Ringel, Alan Ringel. Just gave it to him. He offered.
So did he contact you guys? So he contacted you guys. But how did you pick that site?
Again, please. Let him speak.
I'm trying to understand how you guys came into play with that land because it's not industrial. But so one thing that we value here, you talk about like $3 million for taxes. I think that's a number that you said for taxes that would come off of that land, the property taxes, because you said like there's like what $3,000 a year for property taxes. So there's something more that we value here in Oklahoma than money, and it's our dirt and our land and our agriculture. And the people here, and all you guys, I appreciate you guys dedicating your time and volunteering. These are your brothers and sisters right here, and they have worked with their hands in this dirt for a long time. And that is how we're able to take care of ourselves and be self-sufficient. And as far as Google goes, so Google, I appreciate that this is one thing that's brought us together, because this is something that like disconnects us completely from each other. Yes. When all we want to do is just be connected with our families and live on our land. This makes my job impossible almost. I do research daily, and Google gives me wrong answers all the time. So I actually Googled something. Is there water contamination from data centers? I Googled it. And this is what AI said.
Nice.
AI. Yes, data centers can cause water contamination primarily through chemical runoff, biocides, corrosion inhibitors from cooling systems, and by depleting local water sources, leading to potential contamination of aquifers or strange suppliers, with concerns growing due to the massive water needs for AI technologies. Communities near data centers, especially in water-stressed areas, have reported contaminated or depleted wells, raising health concerns about the chemicals and overall water scarcity.
That's right.
You deserve better than that. There is a place that would be perfect for you guys. It's called Pitcher, Oklahoma. Nothing's gonna grow there. PSO. Okay. You look fairly young. I don't know if you bought Carry Black Fox. We've already won this war with PSO. PSO stands for Public Service Company of Oklahoma. You guys are currently suing Rogers County because we've already voiced our opinion on we don't want you to make changes to the way you're going to use the land because of data centers. And now you're suing us, so that's not being a very good partner of PSO. We don't want this. We want community, we want connection, and we want our land. Thank you very much. And thank you for your time.
Kyle Schmidt.
Alright, thanks. So, I wrote something out, but I want to make one quick point. You guys mentioned working around the conservation easement that's on that land. I would like to know how much wildlife is going to stick around while that's an active construction site. It kind of defeats the purpose of a conservation easement. So, that being said, the theme tonight for my remarks is zero. 2 years ago, my family and I finally escaped the city. It was a lifelong dream of ours. We all worked with our hands, built our dream house on our 8 acres. It was a lifelong dream, and we finally made it. We adore living out there because zero is what makes it special. On a still night with no clouds, it's silent. There is zero city noise. No car horns, no trains, no gunshots, no buzzing lights, or humming industrial cooling fans. Amen. Zero. That zero is our peace. You can see stars that people in the city don't know exist because they can't see them in the midst of the city lights. You can hear a coyote yipping from a mile away because there is zero background noise and sound travels forever out here. We had zero interference in our chosen way of life by elected wannabe bureaucrats and city politicians because we chose this life away from the city. At this moment, you are allegedly contemplating, we're sure it's pretty much a foregone conclusion given how far down this road we are, taking votes before we even know plans, but I digress. This decision will negatively impact the dream of zero for everyone in this community that we have worked our lives for and our family through generations because of your zero. The leaders of this city had zero integrity, in the way they brought this circumstance to bear. They lied directly to citizens when asked point blank, was this done for a data center? It absolutely was, and they were not truthful. You guys have zero integrity where we are concerned when you are willing to violate your own comprehensive plan so that you can make a quick, easy buck that's easier than building new subdivisions because you don't have to provide city services to those neighborhoods, as our city manager, Mike Carter, so eloquently put it at his State of the City address last week. So they don't have to do that. It's an easy, quick buck on our backs. There was zero ethics when they hid the intentions for months while they secretly planned and assisted the landowners and developers. They have zero compassion for the citizens of Sand Springs, as evidenced by their brazen eagerness to plow ahead with these plans in spite of all of the opposition. And you have zero understanding of what you have messed with. You have zero comprehension of the hornet's nest that you kicked, or the consequences that this shortcut to a quick, easy buck is going to cost. It's going to be a lot more than just a couple of tax dollars. It's wrong, you know it, and you need to abandon this vain pursuit immediately.
Stephen Curley.
Hi everybody, I'm from Sand Springs, my whole family's from Sand Springs. I'm going to touch on something that most people, or nobody has, I don't believe yet, on the broader implications of this global AI agenda, Project Stargate and the Genesis mission with Google, DeepMind, and DOE. Both are joint initiatives between big government and big tech. The core goal of these projects is to go beyond the current AI of data storage to build a network of massive AI supercomputers leading to AGI and then advancing to ASI, which will possess human-like cognitive abilities, gaining universal superiority, advanced cognition, and surpassing human intelligence. These corporations are aligned with federal interests, and this centralization gives an enormous imbalance of power to whoever controls the facilities, training, operation, and deployment of AGI. Such concentration reduces local and democratic oversight. Advanced AI, especially when tied to federal initiatives, creates the infrastructure capable of population-level monitoring. AGI systems enable real-time analysis of vast amounts of data, including biometrics, financial information, social patterns. These systems could be integrated into government operations, law enforcement, or public services in ways that compromise privacy and freedom. Everyone keeps talking about we're in a race with China. Well, China, last I checked, is a full surveillance state, and their AI serves as a real-world example of how such systems can evolve once the infrastructure is in place. Nobel Peace Prize winner, often referred to as the godfather of AI, Geoffrey Hinton, he warns the risk of people using AI could use it for malicious purposes such as creating cyber attacks, engineering deadly biological agents, manipulating elections, developing lethal autonomous weapons, and he also says there's a chance of AI leading to human extinction. He warns that AI will replace a vast number of jobs that could lead to mass unemployment, concentrating profits only among a few big tech giants. Experts also fear these partnerships are intersecting transhumanism and biotechnology for human advancement by merging humans with machines. The rise of AGI, seen in brain-computer interfaces, genetic engineering, and biohacking ventures, is the catalyst for transhumanist movement. Google's DeepMind neural mapping project aligns with transhumanist goals. Their brain mapping is a foundational technology for merging humans with AI and provides a necessary blueprint for the creation of BCI. Many big tech guys are very admitted transhumanists. Two of Google's, Ray Kurzweil, Larry Page, then I'm sure everybody's heard of Peter Thiel, Sam Altman, Elon Musk, there's quite the common denominator. In closing, the globalist agenda sweeping across the nation will completely reshape society as we know it. I really believe that God is shaking us awake, and He's lifting the veil of deceit from our eyes so we can see with full clarity. Jesus warned us that when the pursuit of wealth becomes primary, the value of humanity becomes secondary. Matthew 6, no one can serve two masters. Either you will hate one and love the other, or you will be devoted to one and despise the other. You cannot serve both God and money. If Jesus were here, He might caution that this is a modern day Tower of Babel. Look at Genesis 11. This should serve as a warning against human technological pride and the desire to reach divine status through our own inventions, creating artificial intelligence that attempts to rival His, our Creator's. Ask yourselves, is the primary fruit of this agenda to serve God's kingdom and the common greater good? Or is it to serve the false god of greed based on the accumulation of wealth and power that is meant to destroy humanity? I'll leave with this. If Jesus were standing here today, do you think He'd sign the dotted line and give His blessing for this agenda? Or do you believe He'd be flipping the heck out of these tables? I think it's horrendous. Councilman, I know a couple of you, and I know your hearts. I believe I do. And don't let the smaller group here railroad you. And let's not sell our soul to power the beast and vote no to all data centers.
Morgan K. Wood.
They'll be done in a few minutes. They said until 9. 3 minutes, this should be the last speaker.
Hi, Morgan K. Wood. I'm a Sand Springs graduate. Currently, I live right across the street, but I do own property out north. I lived out there until December of 2023, and I do plan to retire there. I know several of you personally and do respect you as individuals and appreciate that you volunteer for our city and what I believe is to make our city better. I had several questions. I'm just going to skip all that because you all look like you're ready to go home and they all look like they're ready to go home. But I'm going to read from Google AI. Google has received over $239 million in ad valorem tax exemptions for its prior facility since it began operations with the state covering these taxes. In 2021 alone, Google received more than $45.9 million in property tax exemptions for the Mays County facility. Is that correct? So you're Google, but you can't tell me how much you haven't paid to the state or how much you were liable to for the state that didn't pay. Okay. So in the next snippet, similar information but different. Google has received significant tax exemptions for its prior Oklahoma facility, amounting to $239 million in ad valorem taxes and $113.9 million in income tax credits since 2017. However, the exact amount of taxes paid by Google for this facility is not specified, as they have primarily benefited from tax breaks. So I like to do math. When I take the 239 and I add the 114, and from 2017 to 2024, because I researched this in 2025 before Google had filed any taxes, when I divide that by 7, it's $50 million per year. So my question to you, counselors, these North of Sand Springs folks, do you think they're dumb enough to be impressed with $3 million when they're supposed to pay $50?
Wow.
Or are you guys dumb enough to be impressed with $3 million when it's supposed to be $50?
Todd Autry.
I don't know, but it's 9 o'clock, so I don't know how long we're gonna keep going. I'm gonna be ready to go soon then. They already.
Hello, can you hear me? My name is Todd Autry. I'm a Sand Springs City resident living in Till Ridge. I moved over here about 6 years ago. Kind of heard it was quiet over here. Not really sure what to think about that now. But either way, me and my wife love the life we've built over here. Got a lot of great friends and a lot of people. And I was kind of curious as to some environmental and pollution issues. I know the water issue has been kind of ran into the ground. I was kind of wondering, does Sand Springs Fire Department have the ability to deal with the battery backup systems should there be a disaster? Can anyone answer that? Anyone from Google or the city council?
We don't use battery backup systems inside the city.
You don't by the substation? Not, okay, excuse me? Okay, not with lithium-ion batteries. Okay.
What?
So are you using diesel generators instead?
As a backup.
As a backup? Diesel generators as a backup?
How many?
Next question, how many?
I'm not sure yet, as we haven't finalized the layout.
Initial report. Hold up.
Okay, I would, if you wouldn't mind, can I get some contact information for you to speak to one of your engineers?
I can give you our pressing email, and we can answer questions that way.
That would be most fine. I would definitely appreciate it. And thank you, City Council and mayors, for your time. Thank you.
I have one more name. I can't actually read the name. It may be last name Hans, but it's 401 West 11th. First name starts with an A, last name starts with an H.
I'm like a mile away from there. We got people on 11th Street getting the
Yeah, are you on, did you sign up?
I did.
I signed up and I'm at Deer Run, I'm half a mile.
Yeah.
The only person I have left is this name right here and two people from Broken Arrow.
He signed up.
Because they're trying to foundation one that So all the communities stick together.
Prioritize people close to us, right, 2 lines to sign up.
I live in
And
Deer
they got
Run.
the notice, it was on a different sheet of paper. That's how we did those people first.
I didn't know there was a sign up and I'm in Deer Run.
Go ahead and speak. Tell me your name.
My name is Justin Coffer. I live in the Deer Run neighborhood, approximately, 52nd Street, New York, 97.
Hey neighbor.
Huh. Wow. Good evening, friends, neighbors, members of the City Council. Data centers are often sold to rural communities as progress. We're told they bring jobs, investment, and a place on the map of the digital future. But for many rural communities, the reality is very different. Instead of revitalizing communities, large-scale data centers often drain resources, raise costs, and permanently alter rural life while giving very little back. First, let's talk about the land. Rural communities are targeted precisely because land is cheap and zoning is flexible. Thousands of acres of farmland, forest, or open space are bought up and transformed into massive industrial compounds, windowless buildings, security fencing, constant lighting, and nonstop noise from cooling systems. This land is effectively removed from productive agricultural use forever, erasing livelihoods that sustain families for generations. Next is water. Data centers consume enormous amounts of water to cool their servers, often millions of gallons per day. In rural areas, that water comes from the same aquifers that farmers, households, and small businesses rely on. Wells run dry.
Yep.
Water tables drop.
Yep.
During droughts, residents are asked to conserve while data centers are operating at full capacity. This isn't shared sacrifice, it's corporate priority.
Yep.
Then there's energy. Data centers require vast amounts of electricity, frequently straining rural power grids that were never designed for the level of demand. To keep up, utility companies build new transmission lines, substations, and power plants, often at the expense of ratepayers. Residents face higher electricity bills, increased outages, and environmental pollution. Also, billionaires and politicians can make a profit.
Yep.
And what about jobs? Despite the promises, data centers create very few permanent positions. A massive facility may employ only a few dozen workers once construction ends.
Yep.
Compare that to agriculture, small business, manufacturing, or local businesses that circulate money throughout the community. Data centers extract value, but they don't build a local economy. Finally, there's the loss of local control. Decisions are often made behind closed doors with tax abatements, secrecy agreements, and fast-tracked approvals. Residents are told it's too late to object. The character of their town changes overnight, and they're left to deal with the consequences. Rural communities deserve development that sustains them, not development that exploits the land, water, and power. Progress should strengthen communities, not hollow them out. If we don't demand accountability now, we risk sacrificing the future of rural Oklahoma for the server farms that serve everyone except the people who live next door.
Amen.
I urge the city council to think long and hard about the negative effects of this proposed Project Spring and vote no. Thank you.
That's 9 o'clock. Mike, any final comments?
I got a question.
She would like to ask a question here.
She wants to speak. I just got a quick question.
Sure.
Why is 827 acres worth of land good enough for a data center, but not an actual office for Google? Why can't you come here as a total and not just as a major site? And by the way, I have fibromyalgia. 60 decibels starts affecting the nervous system. Above that, it starts affecting your cardiac system. It starts affecting the pulmonary system. That's decibels. That's a frequency. Queens in a hive start being affected, and then the hives start dying off at 65 decibels. I have birds and dogs on my property, and I don't live that far from P-Bar-S Ranch. I know that's going to affect the cattle out there. And I got tons of neighbors up here, so why is it 827 acres that you need for a data center? Why can't you put a business up here? An actual
That's going to be a
business.
tenth of the size.
If you
Why
want
do
to
they
bring
need all
Google
that land?
in,
It's going to be a
bring
tenth.
Google in, all of it, not just the data center. Data center, you can put that in a building somewhere if that's where you need to store your information, because that's what data centers are for. We have plenty of them downtown, but they're private and they're in their own buildings. Why do you have to have a data center on 827 acres? Why do you need that much land?
Question asked. I think that's a kind of rhetorical question, I assume, because it's.
No, I want an answer. Why do you need 800? You don't need that much room for a data center. Why can't you bring a business out here? That's a real job. That's for the future.
Meeting adjourned.